one of London's most famous locations, but I expect most people recognise it as a tourist attraction.
Absolutely.
Rather than a conference venue. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about it as a conference venue.
As an events venue, well, first of all, the museum in itself, in terms of the Westminster collection, is completely unique. There is not another one in Westminster or the world that is like it. We have 2 event spaces, so the 1940s feel of the venue, but they're sort of spec to a high standard with regards to AV, technology, sort of internet access, but right in the heart of the museum. So an added value for guests is that they do get to have a look around the museum at no extra charge. So it's a real incentive to have an event there.
And is that always an integral part of an event, that they can and do look around?
Absolutely. I think quite often the events like to tie in an element of Churchill or the museum, whether it's sort of inspirational, whether it's sort of something that's quite humbling, whether it's operational, whether it's sort of facilities management, and they try and link the museum with regards to the venue, and hence also give the guests the opportunity to have a look around the facilities.
You talked about the two main event spaces. Yes. I'm just trying to form a little picture of what can happen in those event spaces, what sort of events actually take place.
The 2 event spaces are very different, which works really nicely, because when we've got more conferences and meetings, we've got the HCA auditorium, which is more a blank canvas style room. All your AV equipment is included, as I'd mentioned. So it tends to be your meetings, conferences, smaller exhibitions, seminars, boardroom style meetings, where the Harmsworth room, I have to say, is probably the favourite of everybody's. It's really, really atmospheric. It's got the original electric generators from during the war, which was used as a backup plant if case sort of in the Parliament Square area, King Charles Street, Whitehall area went down. The lighting's really atmospheric, so that's more for your receptions, fine dining dinners, your birthday parties, your 1940s style events if you want to.
Yes. And that, yes, you've led on to that. Tell us about the sorts of customers, sorts of clients you have. Is there a typical sort of client?
I have to say we are mainly a corporate-based venue. Obviously, due to the location, we have a lot of government bookings, and that's something in terms of the future and our focus that we are trying to develop due to the great location, obviously just Horse Guards Road opposite St James's Park, but mainly corporate bookings. But as I mentioned, we do have the occasional 60th birthday party where they put the glad rags on and really get down to some jitterbug music. So,
any particular recent developments at the venue or anything you've got coming up in the near future to enhance it?
In terms of our sort of packages and developments with regards to events, we're looking at a lot more flexibility, and I think that at the minute is really, really key for events to book. So we're looking at more of a build your own day delegate rate, so we can actually pick, so guests can pick and choose what they want to have for their day rather than us dictating it, as I said, just to show flexibility. We're also looking at developing new menus and new sort of packages alongside that. It's quite nice to keep some seasonal movement with regards to food and beverage, and again that's something that's quite important for guests. In terms of the museum and refurbishments, the Churchill Museum was opened in 2005, so that is quite fresh and new, and our event spaces have been refurbished in 2008 as well, so nothing in terms of the development of the museum in itself.
Now, you're part of the Westminster collection. What does that bring to you?
I think it brings an opportunity, obviously, for events, most definitely. I think the events that the Westminster collection put on in terms of the showcases and the networking events just gives us an opportunity to speak to people that we haven't spoken to before. And one thing that I find really key is getting involved with all the meetings, with all the fam trips, to get to know your colleagues and your peers, because quite often, if they can't do an event or they can't host it for whatever reason, you might be the first person that springs to mind with regards to placing an event. And it's just nice networking, good contacts, have a good chat about what's going on in the industry and to share best practice.
Thanks very much, Catherine.
Thank you.